Kevin, my friend, welcome to my show, Leadership and Personal Branding. Thank you for flying all the way from Ghana to be in this show today. I sent you two questions. One of the questions was, how will you define your personal brand? And the second question was, what is your personal brand symbol and how do you use it every day? I know, based on your story and based on where you come from Ghana, West Africa, and your time in the USA, and now back to Ghana, where you are doing some amazing things. I can't wait to hear all of it. And I know your story will inspire everyone that will be listening to this today. Your voice is powerful. You have a powerful voice. Use it bravely and consistently. So, Kevin, my friend, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
Yeah, certainly. I'm just basically an engineer. Um, I, worked at different places to establish myself as an engineer, and now in management, and now in business,
Mm-hmm.
running a software development agency, and also a nonprofit, and then also a product company, trying to solve test automation in a very unique way with AI.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. I know we talked before, and I've been following your story, your journey for quite some time. Since back in the day when we were in college, you were at NDSU, and I was at Concordia College, and you were majoring in mechanical engineering. And then at some point, I did not know where you went. Okay. Just like my previous guest, Isaac, we were friends, classmates, took the same class, and then he disappeared. And then when he came back with a company. And the same for you. You guys have the same founder's journey. I know you started Engineer Africa. You were reaching out to people to join it. And at that time, I was wondering what it's all about. I wasn't I wasn't too much into it at the time, but now that I can reflect on what you have done in Engineer Africa, and also as part of my goal to bring people together to a common vision, in Engineer Africa, you've been able to address several things, and also your companies that you've started into AI. I know you have Zof.AI. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that's your most recent company that you've just launched. And before that, you also had Kissi Co. All this has put you in a place where you are traveling from country to country across the African continent and in the USA. I think this week or last week, I saw you in the UK. So with all this journey, you must be able to adapt to situations, different cultures, conflicting cultures, and even different people. So how do you maintain or how do you define your personal brand and how do you fit in all these situations? I know that's a lot, but I wanted to just package it all for people who are just starting to listen to this.
Felix, I've been following your career journey as well. And when you recently became a manager, I was especially proud
Yeah,
because I remember a long time ago that you were asking me questions about being a mechanical engineer.
yeah,
At the time, I was kind of a weird individual. I was kind of avoiding social interactions with people. I was trying to be just focused on just studying and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, my mindset wasn't like towards like trying to help as many people as I can as I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that particular moment, all I was thinking about is how do I give this young man as much information as he can so he can be successful as an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward several years now, more than a decade, you were an esteemed engineer and now an engineer manager.
Yeah.
So I'm especially proud. Now, to tie it to my personal brand, my goal is to be a respected engineer
Mm-hmm.
focused on solving societal issues, problems that really have a good chance of having a dramatic impact
Mm-hmm.
on how things are today, trying to change the status quo, trying to make sure that I have an impact on individuals like yourself, communicating what I know and sharing my insights,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and bringing people along the journey of building businesses and solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can actually see that it's a very uh, real and human process, and it's not
Yeah.
magic. It's just, hard work and it's just strategic, engagements and whatnot. And so when I started Engineer Africa, as you notice, it was very, very public. Everything that we were doing, we were posting it, we were talking about it. Any person I met, we took pictures, we posted it. So you
Yeah.
knew the activities that were going on and how we were building this thing coming together.
Yeah.
Recently, I saw that governance documents, we had actually put it on our website very, very visibly. And I was thinking, do all nonprofits have that public facing? And I
Yeah.
realized that the reason we had that is because we wanted to just bring people along on the journey, be as fully transparent as we can. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is how I have tried to build myself transparent, open, and always ready to help and try to be that person that wants to be a mentor for people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually last night I went to your website and actually reviewed Engineer Africa, and I was looking to see what you're trying to solve there. So it's some amazing things you're trying to do with that. I actually went to Amazon also. I know there's a book for Engineer Africa. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I think it's in I see it in Amazon. It's still there. Is it still there?
Yeah,
Therefore,
it's there. We wrote a book back in 2020 when
yeah.
we had the COVID lockdown, so we couldn't do a whole lot. At the
Mm-hmm.
time, a lot of events to kind of engage people and actually increase membership for Engineer Africa.
Okay.
Couldn't do that as effective due to the lockdown. We did virtual
Mm-hmm.
events. Then we decided, hey, we need to make sure that the vision is very, very clear in people's minds. So we decided
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
before the book was just on our website, and sometimes people are having trouble finding it. So we decided to just post it on Amazon. Yeah, so it is there. It talks about the entire vision. It talks about the current status quo of inefficiencies of how our countries are in Africa,
Yeah.
and what promising ways to kind of make the most impact through engineering.
Yeah. I think I like what you're doing with Engineer Africa, and it brings me back to part of the reason why I started this show. Actually, when I came from Kenya to Ghana and now to USA, and as I was traveling from country to country, I was trying to forget a lot of things. And as I was coming to a new country, I felt freedom that nobody knows my background. Nobody knows who I am at the moment. So I felt so much freedom at that time through college. But after I started interacting with some of my friends in the soccer team, in track and field, as I traveled from college to college, running track and field, playing soccer with the guys and people chatting in the bus. And all I can hear them telling their story so confidently. They tell you stories that you will not want to say. So then I kind of just connected the dots. How come I'm speaking in past tense all the time? You ask me about something, I found a way to speak in past tense, and you will never know. I'll just answer it and it will kill the conversation. So getting into this journey, self-discovery, and just owning your story gave me another freedom. I thought I had freedom, but the freedom is now to accept who we are, accept where we come from, and share those unique stories with everyone. And with that, we will be able to lead with our unique personal brand story. That's why I like the concept of Engineer Africa. And I was just thinking last night, I'm not seeing a lot of action in this area yet. And I think maybe after this video, you can take a look at it again. And maybe I haven't followed too much lately, but it's an area where I see a lot of potential and opportunity in connecting the continent back to the continent, and even with some of the immigrants in the USA. So I think based on what I just told you, and based on when I ask you about how do you define your personal brand, and I think you told me that your brand is you want to be a respected engineer, correct? That's your brand, personal
Yes.
brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I
So can you tell me more? Tell me more about your brand as an engineer. And I know I kind of gave more background on some of the things that you've done, but you tell me from your own words what that is.
so I think in terms of being a respected engineer, what I've found myself doing is um I try when I was younger. I mean, I don't do that now. I'm a little bit more matured now, but
Yeah.
it, it was kind of like a competition. I wanted to instill in people's mind, you know, some let me say fear.
Yeah.
Fears of being good, right? I want people to know I am really good
Yeah.
compared to them. And, I try to go above and beyond to solve this problem, solve that problem at quality,
Mm-hmm.
uh, to gain that respect, right?
Yeah.
There are engineers out there who did their work with, you know, great integrity and great quality. But I wanted to make sure that once I saw the level, the bar, I was always wanted to be above that,
Yeah.
where so that I'm always on top. So instill that in people's minds, that sort of thing. Did that in college for a little bit, around my friends. Always wanted to score the highest and be
Yeah.
able to about it. Um, and so, I mean, being a respected engineer past that is actually solving a relevant and important problem, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not about that social aspect of who's better. It's more about solving um, problems that matter and solving it in a way that is sustainable, um, and also engaging as many people as you can so that it's more of building a tribe or building a community that pushes a solution forward, and
Mm-hmm.
brings up necessarily, right? I think um, being a good engineer and being a respected engineer is all about just self-accomplishment. It's about um, having a lot of engineers come along the way to solve the problem with you, right?
Yeah.
And I think Africa is kind of designed to work that way, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not me trying to solve problem A. It's about me trying to get as many people to come together to solve problem A with me,
Yeah.
or without me, right?
Yeah.
Um, and inspiring them as well, right?
Mhm.
I get the joy of, leading a team. As a software engineer manager, I get the joy of bringing, teams together, um, my partner teams together, and also my team to actually solve a hard problem. And being able to do that consistently and being able to do that um, together with a team is what I think it's admirable as an engineer, because I've not seen any bridge being built by one person, right? I've
Yeah,
not seen it being
yeah,
built by one person. It's always a team of people, and any sizable feat requires a large number of people to come together. So, um, in order to bring people together, you need to be respected, right? People need to feel inspired by you. People need to feel like you are worthy of being followed, right? And
yeah.
so that requires leadership. That requires leadership by example, right? If
Mhm.
you want people to build and solve problems at quality, you need to have a track record of building and solving problems at quality.
Mhm.
So to that, so you can demonstrate that to the people you bring together. Um, and so that is what I have been kind of designing. And I think one thing that I have wrongly, approached things was, hiding in some corner, build something, come out, do a blick splash. People are like, wow, this is really cool. But just I did that myself, right? That doesn't empower anyone, really. And it's not empower anyone sustainably anyway. So
Yeah,
change that approach a little bit, and
yeah,
force more of a leader, more
yeah.
or less.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned something very powerful at the end there, which is if as a leader, your goal is to inspire. And mostly as an engineering leader, you want others to also see you as an example. And when you say that doing something in the background and then showing up with something cool and then going back and doing another thing and then showing up, nobody is able to follow your journey and get people still get inspired by what you do. But if like based on your brand that you are trying to define now is you're basically saying that if you are working on this journey, you want to walk it with other engineers. And I
100%.
can see that in your mission with Engineer Africa. You are recruiting every engineer from anywhere. You came to me, I registered, you went to others. I've looked at the profile. I think you have lived to that. So thanks for continuing to do that. Let's keep lifting Africa and others around us. And that brings me to my mission. My mission is to improve together, build a stronger work-life culture, and create value for the business as well as ourselves everywhere we go. So anybody that is working around my sphere of influence or your sphere of influence, our goal is to, whatever knowledge they're gaining here, we're going to improve together on that knowledge. And if they go somewhere else, they take that with them. And so that value remains with them, not only benefiting one company. So that's a good thing to live by. The other thing I want to get into, you as an engineer, actually, since I did not see you after a while after college, and then you showed up with Zof.AI. I know Kissi and Co. I was following that. I saw a big billboard in Ghana. I think from your previous video podcast, I saw that guy also brought it up, saying you have the biggest billboard in Ghana. So uh, tell me about Kissi and Co. as you progress your brand as an engineer and what you want people to know about that. There's many founders who have started and failed, and some of them have continued to be successful. you saw in my previous video with my friend Isaac, he put all his effort in his company. And at one point, everything disappeared to a point where he did not even have enough money to buy formula milk for his daughter. So you tell me about Kissi and Co. and what lessons people can learn from how you from Engineer Africa to Kissi and Co. and to Zof.AI.
Yeah, so well, basically, to give some context, I'm just gonna start from a little bit more from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Kissi and Co was born out of trying to keep this one startup we had alive.
Mm-hmm.
As it's an AI and machine learning platform that essentially help our users be more connected to the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably think of it like a personal assistant to some degree. Back in 2015 is when we started this company, and we were able to work on it for some time, but we weren't able to raise enough capital to keep it going. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to start. I was already, building software for this business, people here or there. So I decided to formalize that into a consulting company, Kissi Co, which will then fund Aura at the time. Aura is the machine learning platform that we built. Um, there were ups and downs, but I have to say there is this one individual that kind of started us up with an free office, and then he wanted to leave, the consulting business. So he gave me all his customers. Um, yeah, I'm
Nice.
grateful to him. So that's how we got started. So we had, work to do right away, right? Eventually, we weren't getting enough customers. So I kept it as a part-time thing for some time. At the time
Mm-hmm.
I started, at the time I started with a partner. It was just me and him. We worked day and night on this thing, just
Mm-hmm.
solving problems for companies and whatnot. Eventually he decided to go back and get his master's, and then he took a job past that, and then it became just me. And that's when I ended up being in corporate America, working one job to the next. But I kept Kissi and Co on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually got the opportunity to kind of expand slightly and then slowly. And then around 2021, I decided to just make, the big jump to go to Ghana and build my workforce there and
Yeah.
capture business as I can in Africa. Um, and then I realized very quickly that we don't have the relationships that we have here. We don't have the know-how of doing business in Africa that I know
Yeah.
here, right? It's a lot more easier because I pretty much grew up here. I know the psychology, I know the mindset, I know, how you, get customers more or less. But there, I had no idea. And so I needed to learn how to operate there. And so there are certain things I wasn't comfortable with, so I decided to just leave. I left Ghana uh,
Yeah.
with Kissi and Co, and then we decided to come back again. I think ending of 2022, or is it beginning of ending of 2022 is when we came back. And then this
Mm.
time our approach is different. This time our goal was to take advantage of the local talent that we have as the
Yeah.
biggest we can back on, and then focus on our relationship with our customers in the US and elsewhere, and improve ourselves to African businesses and African countries, more or less Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
uh, of our capabilities over time. So, we could have gone bankrupt if we just focused on just business and getting
Yeah.
customers in Africa, and in Ghana, because we're just in our infancy. We don't know enough people. We haven't built the trust. We're just a newcomer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we changed things a little bit, and now we're seeing things come together.
Mm-hmm.
We have talents that is really helping us solve problems for companies. And I'm helping, upskill that talent, teaching them the things that I already know and making sure I
Yeah.
can bring that degree of professionalism and expertise that I embody myself. And so
Yeah.
has been the journey with Kissi Co. Engineer Africa was just on the side, sort of a distraction. It wasn't supposed to be a nonprofit by any chance.
Mm-hmm.
We just organize events around this idea of bringing enough African startups together or failed African startups together and let
Yeah.
them share their insights and their stories so that we can
Mm-hmm.
all benefit from each other and figure out how we can be successful in the African markets.
Yeah.
And fire. It caught it caught lava.
Yeah.
Excuse my characterization there. Very quickly, people were very, very excited about this. Like
Yeah.
a week or two, we were at like 1,200 members.
Yeah.
Right? Eventbrite, right? People were so excited about this thing, the
Mm-hmm.
it was just, just too hard to slow down. So we wanted to make sure we can capitalize on the momentum. And honestly, we just thought, hey, man, bringing people together to just have a conversation on this thing, I feel like we can do more. So we decided to turn it more into an organization. And then later on, more and more focused on engineering and technology, more so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that sort of some of the dreams that I had at 8 years old started to manifest within Engineer Africa.
Yeah.
Eight, I remember vividly, I sat on a curb somewhere and I was just looking at, how things are in Ghana. And I felt like, man, I can't wait to grow up and be skilled enough to come back and solve, some of the
Yeah.
challenges in the continent.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought of myself, wanted to be an engineer. Um, and so fast forward, start an organization called Engineer Africa, which is kind of very, very weird. Because at the time I thought Africa needed to be engineered,
Yeah.
but in a more less advanced thought process at 8 years old, right? But
Yeah.
the theme is similar. And so seeing myself just have this thing and then turning it closer and closer towards that, I think has been quite amazing. And then trying to engage in various unique problems to make sure that impact is felt. Um, it's something I'm proud of. And yeah, I want to continue to do that. Zof.AI, um, I just I Zof.AI came out of my experience at US Bank, where I was in charge of automation there, software testing automation. And I did quite a bit of automation of various processes as well. I think at the time when I was there, they were printing physical checks for test cases to test various scenarios. And I felt, hey, why don't we just use software to do that, right? We can actually draw these checks and then pass it
Yeah.
through this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being there and doing that gave me some insights about how test automation can improve. And then fast forward being at US Bank, sorry, being at Microsoft as an engineer manager when I was managing a team of engineers and having to be the owner of, product quality that we push out there, essentially the feature that we push out there.
Yeah.
Um, and then having to interface with vendors that do all of our testing for us. I realized that there is a bit of a disconnect in the kind of quality standards we have and what the vendors had. And so,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it became a little bit inefficient, trying to make sure that that information is going back and forth and understood and establishing common ground there. And I felt, well, why do we even have this relationship in the first place? Why don't we just fully automate this and not need vendors? Um, and I wanted to do that at Microsoft actually. And so I just kind of denied that for some time, that this is a worthy venture.
Mm-hmm.
Until I gave a talk in Atlanta, some test automation summit, testing summit or whatever, QA summit in Atlanta. I think it's organized by Testing Minds or something like that. That's last year around August, yeah. And just giving that presentation and just hearing the questions I'm getting and just being there, I realized that, wow, this is something that needs to be done. But I still kind of challenge that as a business and challenge the need to build something like that. Eventually, I had to settle that, hey, look, um, this needs to be done. And it's up to me to do it because I have that insight. I have it all compiled together that we need to go from requirements documents to full test results. Yeah, so essentially, going from requirements documents to full-fledged test results, and automating that process. I think that's the key difference here, difference
Mm-hmm.
maker here. Currently, the different software out there, you actually have to create your test cases and your various scenarios and whatnot, and then actually, execute these tests by, say, for example, if you're using, say, Selenium or whatever, right? Um, and you're testing an interface, you have to go and grab the XPaths of the buttons and
Yeah.
what have you, and then put it into the code, that kind of thing. That's a manual process. Why don't you have software do all of that for you? Create the test cases, the scenarios, and everything, just straight from the requirements documents, and then give you all your test results, at the end, right? Um, let's just say you're doing integration tests, functional tests, load tests, stress tests. All of these tests can actually just be automated, just straight from your requirements documents. All you just have
Mm-hmm.
to do is push the URL or the way to access the application to Zof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's where things are going to be one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
They might not be adapting that. Other companies might not be adapting that, and we're the ones doing that right now. I love it. I love the
Yeah.
fact that we're the first movers, but I can bet everything that this is going to be the way. This is going to be the standard.
Yeah. Just.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't keep denying not wanting to do this, not wanting to solve this problem. It just felt like, well, if I don't do it, eventually it's going to be done. And I'm going to regret not doing this. All right. I'm going to
Yeah.
regret that. And so I didn't want to live with that regret. And I know I'm extremely capable. I have the experience. I know the ins and outs of it. I've built something similar to some degree in the past, much more less advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now we're doing NLP, parsing the requirements documents. We're doing image recognition. We're doing all this fancy, cool stuff just to bring
Yeah.
the end results of tests. And then we're gamifying that experience as well with engineering teams. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And I hope it goes as I've imagined in my mind and as I play it out every day in my
Yeah.
mind. And so yeah, right
Yeah.
now the key thing is raising capital and getting the support that we need to be able to grow and scale and build at extreme quality and being able to pay high expertise engineers to join and all of that. And,
Yeah.
give up less equity instead. So yeah, so that has been the journey with Zolf as well, and how I ended up here. Um, if I didn't work at US Bank, if I didn't work at Microsoft, Zof.AI will not exist.
Yeah.
It just would not. I had to have had these experiences for that to happen. If I had not started Aura, Kissi Co would not have existed, right?
Yeah.
If I had not gone to NASB and join the hackathon there, Aura also wouldn't have existed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So everything is somewhat connected, right? So
Yeah. I'll actually, good that you're mentioning everything is connected. Okay. If you have maybe 3 points to share, if you look at Steve Jobs' story, Steve Jobs, he actually has a video on YouTube.
Be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College.
He starts by, I'm only going to talk about 3 things. And then he's connecting the dots from why, okay, Steve Jobs drops out of school. Then he joins a calligraphy class. With no idea why he's gonna use that. And then he goes to Apple. And he connects his calligraphy class and how the thing should look. If you're an engineer, you design something with a color, for example. He's able to critique it in a way. And that's how he was able to shape Apple, even from the beginning. So just the idea of connecting the dots. And I have also connected the dots in my life also. And when it comes to what I'm doing now and how actually people are asking me, how did you decide to do what you're doing now? Because they're seeing a different perspective of how I used to communicate things, how I used to react to things in life is completely different. And so I have this, your path could be different, but if you keep trying and trying, you will be able to reach to your desired goal. And this is why I came up with this demonstration in terms of complexity and simplicity. And people always give up so quickly when they realize something is too complex. So we will do this together. I want you to touch your nose like this. If you try touching your nose, how easy is it? See how everybody is going for this. Now I want you to touch your nose by wrapping your arm around your head like this.
Quite difficult.
Yeah, how complex is it? So the point is, it can take you, your path sometimes might be like zigzag, or when you are going through these companies, company A, company B, company C, like what you're saying, if it wasn't for US Bank, you won't have maybe even started Zof. But the point is, you are following something. And some people don't need to go through all those steps to get to Zof. They can go the easy way, or they can go, your life can take another turn, but eventually you will be able to get there. And you mentioned that you might regret if you didn't start it. Some people give up so quick that they don't even get to know what was going to be next in their life. So I just wanted to connect the dots to that. And the last one is, I want to emphasize the idea of your personal brand, how you define yourself as a respected engineer. I went to your website, Zof.AI, right? And I was trying to see what does Zof do? And you have included one image at the bottom of your page, which is easier for me to even understand. You take customer problem, you take customer requirements, you feed it into your system, to this AI model, and you spit out report. Basically, you have removed the manual, the engineers. How easy is that to understand? Based like a big company, like a company that you have, and you have shown this page, which I thought actually it was too much information because anybody can now copy the model now. But you took the idea to basically show people what you do, like the easy way, versus confusing people about what is off and things like that. So good job on sticking up to your engineering brand and actually making it making things simple for people to understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
And
I
you
thought
know,
that's a
the
good idea.
reason why I share much more openly now about what we're doing and what I'm working on is back in the day, we used to put our startups in stealth mode, especially Aura was in stealth mode for some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I realized that, look, eventually over time, I realized that if someone is going to steal your idea, they can go ahead. They still have to do fundraising. They still have to do sales. They still have to build a product. It's a lot of work, right? If you're not
Mm-hmm.
passionate about solving a certain problem and you just go and steal it from someone, you have a
Yeah.
great deal of headache you inherited, right? Versus
Yeah.
someone who's already passionate about this problem you're solving, right?
Yeah.
Who stand at a disadvantage? The person who stole it or the person it originates from?
Yeah.
The person who stole it stands at a disadvantage because that's not
Yeah.
something that, you know, they've been dying to solve, right? They just
Yeah.
went and copied it from someone else, right? And so if I am marketing, if I am raising capital, if I am scaling my team, find the right talent for to solve that problem, I'm doing it
Yeah.
enthusiastically, compared to someone else who it's not originating from. So you know, people can throw
Yeah.
money at solving this problem and you know, doing it because they have the capability to, that's fine. Um, at the end of the day is validation that this is actually a correct business model. This is actually a thing to be solving. That's validation right there for
Yeah.
us. So that's why I moved out of this stealth mode, you know, putting startups in stealth mode mindset and just, you know, just here's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it helps to also recruit, it helps to, you know, to bring clarity to potential customers and all have you. Be able to get to, you know, post revenue faster and all of that. So
Yeah. I think good job on that. I was actually wondering what is off, and that page alone explained what you do with that. I still
yeah,
have some questions for probably in the background. I'll ask you later, but
yeah.
it was easy to follow. I think anybody thinking of wanting to understand what Zof.AI, you just go to what's the website, Zof.AI.com, or what is it?
It's just Zof.AI,
Just
Zof.AI.
Zof.AI.com. Yeah.
No, there's no comp. Well, I mean, if you go to Zof.AI.com, it'll still forward you to Zof.ai. It all works. Never
Okay.
mind.
Yeah. And there is just go to, I forgot what the menu is, but it's easy to understand. And if Kevin, if you're okay in this video, I'll bring it up here to show what Zof AI does, and you will see why Kevin is saying that his personal brand is a respected engineer, and he's going to continue to do that. So, Kevin, do you have a personal brand symbol, and how do you use it every day in your life? I think it would be good to share what you have on that. And if you don't, also that's fine. But I think I'm sure you have something.
Yeah. So, I mean, our conversation earlier really gave me some understanding of the symbol. And you're right that you know, the symbol is pretty much what I'm using today for my personal website is a K looking the left way and a K looking the right direction, right? And that is
Mhm.
actually a symbol of looking forward and looking back. Um, and for me, what I try to do is I try to look back and try to do better than I was doing earlier.
Yeah.
So I try to compete with my past self to be
Hmm.
better and better and better and grow and grow and grow to make sure that I'm actually growing. And there are times when I'm at the lowest that I have to look back and I'm
Yeah.
inspired with my past. I look at my past accomplishments. I look at, you know, there are things that maybe from the outside to other people might be a more of a, you know, a bigger accomplishment, but like there is no bigger accomplishment for me than when I was 20 years old, when I figured out what is the best way to live. I mean, at least in my own terms, I think that was the biggest accomplishment when I spent so many hours just reading philosophy papers, mathematics papers, And I think at the time I was trying to solve this famously unsolved math conjecture, the twin prime conjecture. And so I made some progress on it. And later on, there's this paper that came along, the gap theorem. Essentially, it's closes the gap in the prime numbers to kind of prove that it's infinite, right? If you straighten it within a certain gap, not necessarily at 2, but if you just tighten the gap continuously. That was a similar concept and approach that I was using at that age, right? Just trying to solve this problem and moving in that direction. That tells me I'm infinitely capable in solving any problem that I choose to solve. And I challenge myself during those times. And so there's nothing that beats that from my life. That is something that I am extremely proud of. And I look back to that to look forward plenty times, a lot of times actually. And so yeah, the K looking back, so the K is my initial. My first name starts with a K, my last name starts with K, but essentially represent just me looking back and me looking forward, more so to speak. And I've been doing that for some years now, over a decade now, and it has been proven beneficial.
Yeah, you know what I'm remembering now? When Usain Bolt is running, it takes he's like running in the beginning, he's with everybody. Then after some time in the middle, he starts to get away from people. Like you can see he's creating this gap. And as he's leading, when he's thinking that he's running by himself and he doesn't know where everybody is, he looks back to see how far he's come from, I think, and where's the others? Are the others catching up? And then again he looks forward and keeps running all the way to the finish line. So that your symbol gives me that perspective where, yes, we always have to look back where we came from to correct some of our mistakes, maybe to perfect our uniqueness or improve in any area. And in the future, like you're thinking about a lot of things, market opportunities, like the gap in the market, and you're trying to capture it now before anyone else. So I think that's a powerful personal brand symbol. And just by chance, it happens to be your names, Kevin, Kissi, K,
just by chance,
backward. So that's a powerful symbol. And you talked about problem solving and how some things are difficult, but you still face them head on. I think most of the things are only simple because they have been solved before. Because you are just starting, even if it's simple, even if it's a simple thing, and if it looks foreign, that you've never seen it before, the way your brain thinks, this is unfamiliar, and then you feel like it's too hard. And then once somebody solves it, everybody starts to solve it.
Exactly.
In Africa, you start a business, next door, tomorrow, everybody starts the same business.
Exactly. You've shown the way.
So,
You validated the idea. You validated the business model.
yeah. So it's interesting how that works. And so with that mindset, when I see a tough problem, I find a way to break it down to its simple step first and see it step by step versus trying to manage a big box full of different unknowns. So I think that's a powerful symbol. And now I watch your video from the other podcast that you were with was that last week or a few weeks ago?
Oh, it's probably 2 weeks or more ago. Just that they finished editing and posting it recently. I think yesterday is when he completed.
Okay. So I want to use your symbol, and this will be a demonstration of your symbol, and you're going to see it. Looking back, you said something in that video that you wanted to inspire people. Okay. I won't say what it is. And then the next one is then looking forward with what inspiration you shared in that video. Looking forward, maybe you can comment on what it is.
Um, I actually ended up revealing something that, my friends around me know this, but I
Yeah.
don't speak of it publicly.
Yeah.
Um, I'm obviously transparent in any professional setting where that comes up. But I actually do not, I was stating that I do not have a bachelor's degree, but I managed to navigate, the software realm, build some respect and trust in my capabilities among my team and my managers and what have you. And that was basically from the focus on solving problems.
Yeah.
And so I talked about in the past, I picked a problem that is uniquely impactful, and I made sure that I solved it at quality. And my previous companies, I try to do that, that I worked at, I try to do that. And that is what has carried me forward. And so essentially what I talked about is, when I look back, this is really what did it for me. And looking forward, this is, this focus on solving, bold and audacious problems and solving it at quality is what's going to make all the difference going forward. And I think Zof is the current problem that I'm trying to solve, and I think it's a global problem. Um, any company that builds software themselves or uses software by others and they try to use the software in any unique way um, has the burden of testing the software they're using and making sure that it's always performant. And the key solution for that is Zof. And so quite ecstatic about it, and I'm looking forward to it. And looking at my past and how the focus on solving problems has enabled me, I expect it to continue to enable me in solving this problem as well.
So Kevin, that's very powerful that you can look back, like your personal brand symbol, K looking backwards and K looking forward. That's a great example that I believe shows your personal brand symbol very well, looking back, and your mechanical engineering story. I think there is more to it. The decision of not to and to continue solving problems, maybe that's for another video in the future that we can do to motivate others who might be in the same situation and might want to learn from you. And what you have done today with Engineer Africa, with Zof.AI, and with Kissi Co. I think it shows how much thought you've put into this engineering wise, how much thought you've put into bringing people together to a common vision. And I like what you're doing, and I hope you will keep doing this. You will keep doing this all the time. And all the best in Zof.AI. I'm interested to know more about it. I keep doing what you're doing, and I like your personal brand symbol, K looking backwards and forward, and your personal brand, a respected engineer. So before we end, is there any last thing you want to tell the people watching, something they should be aware of, any founders' advice?
Um, I think one of the most important things is being intentional about your personal brand. I think in this world, if you don't define what you want to be known for and what you want to be remembered for, others will define it for you. And so you need to be proactive at making sure that you tell your story, make sure it comes from you, and make sure you engage in activities that backs up your story and makes it clear what you're trying to put out there in the world and how you want to be known. It's definitely something that you can't leave it to chance. You have to be engaged in that. Anything you want to accomplish in this world, someone has to see it being possible that you can accomplish it before they'll jump on and support you. And so your personal brand can play a role in that. If you've navigated your personal brand in a way that says that, hey, this person is capable, that's what's going to happen in terms of attracting support.
Everybody has a personal brand. Whether you are intentional about building your personal brand or you're just going about your day, whatever you do, there's something that defines you.
What if the results don't come? They're not going to come if you quit. Keep showing up. I'm tired.